I just think that everybody should pay their share of taxes and things and not just scrounge on people by going in lay-bys and making a nuisance of themselves. Give them a nice site with amenities, and perhaps you could bring them up to our level.
Oh, no, I wouldn't take one of their sites. Not like how they have their sites with concrete pads and wire and fencing in and people watching you all the time, and camp wardens and all that business, you know.
Unless either the authorities turn a blind eye to casual traveller encampments or authorised encampments are made available within the text of the 1960 Act, the traveller can never find a secure stopping place except in the limited circumstances which are exempt from the Act. This amounts to the virtual outlawing of his way of life.
We should accommodate them. How is a different matter. I'm not sure. I don't really know much about them.
Do you think that sites should be placed in areas where house-dwelling people would not normally want to live, i.e. by sewage works?
I don't necessarily see why not. It's just getting a consensus within the area.
A gypsy is a person of habitual nomadic way of life, whatever his race or origins.
Have you ever mixed in or come across traditional travellers?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we mix in all the time, most of us, like. Well, we do anyway. Not everybody that travels mixes in with, like, gypsies all the time. But we do. I mean, we've mixed in with quite a lot.
We try to, we try to make it a point to find the nearest camp and go down and just see what happens, and usually it's a warm welcome and a talk, and there's lots of things that we can teach each other because we've been in society and they haven't. We can use our knowledge of what we know of the law and of this, that and the other, and it can be used to help them, and also their knowledge of the travelling life they've lived for generations can be used to help us.
To call non-gypsies gorgeous, I think, and just wondering about your relationship to our society.
Well, we get on all right with them.
We didn't run you away, did we?
Yeah.
So we don't mind. They don't like us, but we don't mind them.
Yeah. But there's different with individuals that you get on by.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, there's some
very nice.
individuals,
Very nice.
yeah, some very good people. It's the people that understand us.
Because, like, when we first started travelling, we used to drive and drive looking for somewhere to camp, that we thought would be okay. And till we started travelling with some gypsy lads, and they just said, you just camp wherever you camp, and then you face the consequences afterwards. You don't think about them beforehand. You just wait till they come, which is what we do now, and we find it's a lot easier. And we get on really well because we know the law as well, which is a good thing, If they come and say we've got 48 hours to move, we tell them that we haven't, and let them take us to court. Because usually they don't bother because they know that we know the law and it's going to be a waste of their money because we're going to be gone by the time they get it all together.
Why are you living here?
Well, because I like the place.
But didn't you live at Cowley's Wood for quite a long time?
Yes, I lived there for about 16, 17 years.
What made you leave there?
Well, because the police came and took some papers in the windows and gave us 2 days to get out. So I shifted from there and come here.
Do you know why they did that after all this time?
Well, no. I don't know why they done it.
The people that's not used to travelling people.
Yeah.
Them is the people suspicious the whole time. Even the police is suspicious of the travellers.
It's like everything else. If you're a stranger in a place, if you go to a small village and you're a stranger, everybody look at you.
Yeah.
The majority don't like travellers. It's not because they don't like him, it's because what they've heard about him, they don't like. It's not the individual person they don't like. I mean, it's just what they've heard.
Yeah. All travellers practically. Usually has a kitchen trailer, anyone with a family. Whichever grown-up family has a kitchen trailer. And shows that they can do a bit more walking and bringing people in that wants to come in. But then they usually have another trailer for a parlour that they keep all their bit of decoration stuff, as you call it, the bit of shine and stuff. the silver.
So that's really like your front room for best?
Quite right.
Yeah,
it's like a
front
parlour,
room, yeah.
Like a parlour, yeah.
Yeah.
A bit of a showpiece.
It's just like a house, your front
Any
room.
place that you have your
living room.
If you're bothering minutes out to living out, you have something there for it, you know.
Well, the thing we symbolise basically is the fact that they can own their own home. They don't need thousands of pounds. For about 50 quid, they can go out and buy themselves an old banger. Pete's on about how he liked the lorry, whereas to me, what I want, because my side is the home side, the raising of a family, to me, a showman's trailer. A proper old showman's trailer, 30 to 40 foot long, with a few bedrooms, where I could just put the kids into a room, lock.
Winter, because I want to live with a large group of people, and if you are poor and can't afford to build it, to buy a great big mansion, then the only way you're going to live with a large group of friends of your own choice is by living in vans, in tents, in teepees, in buses, out in the countryside.
Water! Emma, ISIS! A warrior may strike beyond the strength of an arrow!
I think it's cultural identity that people really want. It's the love of knowing that they belong somewhere.
Margaret and myself are very pleased to be here this morning and be doing this ceremony. We have known you since you were quite young. We know not alone your fathers and mothers, but even the grandparents, and we're pleased to see some of the grandparents here today as well. And therefore, you, both of you, you have been reared properly. You're coming to the altar clean and proper in every way. And we congratulate you, and we, along with Father Patrick Armstrong, who is the parish priest here and who knows you well, we're all pleased.
All travelling people is very close, knitted of everyone. Very close to their own family, but very close knitted of all the travellers. I mean, if there's a wedding going on anywhere, I mean, all travellers goes, even you're not invited, you go, and that you don't know the people who's getting married. I mean, it's common sense to know that any traveller knows where it is to go to the wedding.
Just go, or
to the christening, or to the funeral. You go to show respect because they're travellers.
And what sort of trade were you doing?
Well, I was on that, before I was at work there, I was bag making and scrap dealing. Yeah. And do a bit of grinding. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this trade I was brought up to. I was brought up to grinding.
You tell me what you're doing.
Society is a very wasteful society, and we come in and actually do something about that.
If it wasn't for the travellers, there's a hell of a lot of stuff would never ever be collected at all. And people always say there's a lot of rubbish around a gypsy camp, but they'd be surprised if they saw how much rubbish those travellers weigh in every day in the scrapyards. They provide hundreds and thousands of tons of reclaimed material for the industries of this country.
If there's things I can't do, then I can't do them. I don't have to run to a man to do them for me. But if I need help, I'll ask for it. And I can mend my own car. I can't mend a truck, but I'm learning to. I can drive a truck, I can drive anything. I can use any tool, you know. I'm not so keen on using things like chainsaws, but I can do it.
I think out there it's the fact that, men don't wash up. I mean, it's not done, it's simply not on. But here they just think nothing of washing the pots. We know Rob, he'll have his tea and he'll just get straight on. I mean, he's 16 and a half. He just thinks nothing of washing pots.
Like, there's certain basic codes that we live by. Like, you don't chop down live, you don't leave your place rubbished up.
Roaming. With our wagon on our horses, we roam around the town. People often laugh at us and our two skinny hands. We gather lots of firewood and eat where we can. We sleep by the roadsides with our dogs Tom and Sam. We sometimes meet some travellers as we roam from town to town. We exchange good fortune and chat when we can. People think we're stupid and thick in the head, but can't we make a living and keep us all well fed? She'll sell you good people some flowers or some pegs, and leave this unfortunate town and go on to the next. They say we are stupid, but just look around, for we can do the roaming when they're stuck in the town.
Do you think there's a particular style which you can recognise as being gypsy fashion?
Oh, yeah. Kind of flashy things. Kind of flashy things and stainless steel things and chrome things. And good stuff.
They do it too, but they're living in their little cosy houses and they're doing it to there. But they think probably their holiday places. Imagine when we go on holiday, it's like this, but the travellers like that. Well, the travellers don't want to live in a place that's like holiday. They want to live in a place that's good for the children, good for themselves, and where they can park the lorries and cars.
I think it happens.
Where we have no choice in this, have we? No. I mean, they'll just build us a site and we have to move on to it, and that's it.
If you had a big garden enough, you could make your own place for your own children to play.
Where would you have it?
Outside of a town. Not in the town.
No, not in a town.
In particular, near a school.
But also, they should have a play area in a site for children, over in some corner where the cars wouldn't be.
I got to kill him. Get Johnson. Get Johnson. Move away.
They're learning all the time. They're learning all sorts of things, you know. They're learning how to survive. Because the way things are going, it doesn't look like there's going to be much of a bloody society going, is there?
This caravan size only supposed to be met 70 camps. And there's a council man telling me, Mr. Davis said, 17 families. Well, that was no matter how many children you had only supposed to have one caravan.
It's pathetic.
Which I mean, that's wrong.
We're not rabbits, God bless us, necessarily. We're human beings. We have to separate.
Go to bed. Go to bed now. Good night. No. Go. I manage now with the small children, with a bed here and a bed in there and one trailer.
Because you put her 3 girls in there, in the bedroom. She sleeps here with her 2 little boys.
The 2 little boys, really small, 4 and 2. So in the morning I can get the 2 little small when the others get up for school. So the 2 little small ones get into the bedroom while I put the bed away. But if they're big, you can't do that.
Well, now when they grow up, she'll have 2 big boys.
That's a separate trailer.
Why, she'll have to have another caravan.
Are you prepared for the eviction? Well, I'm always prepared to move anyway because I don't like being stuck in one place longer than I want to be. I don't know what it's going to be like when it does happen, so I'd rather move off. You know, I don't want to be towed, so it's easier for me to move off beforehand.
Does it make you nervous?
Yes. And all you really hear about actions are when they don't go well, when there's trouble. And that's enough to make anybody nervous.
Do you think some authorities are worse than others?
Yes, I do. Mainly because the manner in which they carry out their evictions shows this. If they haven't provided sites and travellers are stopping on waste land or railway sidings or whatever, the councils in some districts carry out a really bad eviction scene. Some of the stories that we could tell you about that don't really bear repetition.
What's going up there now? You can get out by the pub there, though, can you?
He's going
You
straight
can't,
down,
not like
isn't
that.
he,
No.
Well,
The other one, then we go.
That one's going straight down by the pub, isn't it?
Yes.
Going down that hill. Anyway, so you can see if you can get it. What's next?
Could I ask you first how you would describe your feelings towards the bus people?
I don't think I really have any feelings for or against them as a group of people, but the reason my attitude has changed over the last few months is that following harvest of last year, 1983, the people who were then living up the lanes stopped respecting my field boundaries.
You have problems, I understand.
That's right, yes. A lot of problems.
About 5 years ago, my husband took his first heart attack. And he wasn't allowed to drive from that, you see. So our son stayed with us. So naturally he got married. He was 31, like he had to make his own life. So he got married on the 21st of April. And he went and put us in the site. We knew when we were going in, we were doing it illegally, like, because you got to ask.
There was an empty plot.
But we thought it was an empty plot, and we thought account of the circumstances we'd be left there. But before we take it away, he said, we'll put this caravan anywhere you want, on a lay-by or in a piece of field. So I said, you could put it on a lay-by, and I'd be moved tomorrow.
I mean, are the people in authority so naive as to believe that the population of travelling people now, the new gypsies, are just going to vanish if they bring out a legislation to stop them from parking in certain places? It just won't happen, and it can't happen.
I can't think how this could have been allowed to start.
This is public property and that's private property.
I know, madam, but it doesn't make... Where are we supposed to go? No?
Well, where did you come from?
Well, we were 2 miles down there, and this morning 200 policemen turned up.
Well, where do you come from originally?
We don't, we just travel.
Well, where have you been all this time then? Doing all this sort of thing?
We've been travelling all over the country.
Well, I hope you won't stay there very long anyway.
Why couldn't that caravan be shifted off the pavement down there? Because we phoned the police every day this week about it. They will not shift that caravan. If we could go and shift it.
Like that last time you were up here.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. He was there. He was there bawling and shouting about. And I was only because you're not listening.
Yeah, you're sick in the head.
Taking it into your brain.
The majority of these gypsies, they don't want to stay put. No. They want to stay long enough to make a mess and do a bit of pinching.
I'm really sorry that we had to take that land, to be quite honest with you. We shouldn't have to take it.
And I'm told that they don't stop at a few.
Who's told you this?
I don't know, I've heard it.
I can't answer statistically about whether there is an increase nationwide.
200 policemen came and moved everybody off
Further
the ridgeway,
down the
further
ridgeway.
down.
Can't stop here.
We can't stop on there either, can we?
We feel like Jews going to a gas chamber, don't you understand?
As far as I'm concerned, they should be a dead group.
Look, the accommodation problem is so severe, we have to take responsibility of finding our own accommodation. We could be on a council list for years, we'd be living in fucking derelict buildings. But no, we've solved that problem for you, yeah? You don't have to house us, we've got our own houses.
I'd rather live in a truck than a house though.
Yeah.
And like, you can take your own with you. If you want to go, and you can't take a house with you. You can take your own with you.
Seems like, I can live my life out of this. I can see myself as an old person sitting around here, getting me bowl of food, and I can see it going all right.
Once I think my mother asked me what I thought it'd be like being a 40-year-old living. And I said, I don't know, I'll let you know, because that's what I am.
They seem very mysterious, strange, and their clothes, the way they live.
In literature, they're fascinating people. They're always appearing in novels as symbols of nature and unfettered expression and all of this. But I've never met any in real life.
Yeah, I like it. Wait a minute. What do you think the whole thing? You don't go around with your clothes off like that, washing at the river.
No,
you
don't.
Turn over.
You never would get a gypsy woman washing her clothes like that.
Not with half her clothes. Not with her...
Oh, yeah, I like that one, though.
Well, no way to go around.
Let me see. Well, I needn't tell you what she would be called.
This is how we're supposed to go around, God. Everything is normal except the woman. You don't go around with your tits hanging out. Yeah, this would be a man's fantasy.
Yeah,
to have a gypsy woman like that.
Walk through wood and
meet all these women.
Bloody Nora.
Let's say a man outside has a God. Gypsies is like that. But we're not.
I think we'll just take a part from this at the end.
They think that we live in another kind of a world. A fantasy world.
Down the Parkers and the Lovebridge is quite romantic on their sites.
Romantic in what way?
Well, it was a true sort of Romany site when I called one evening. There was the campfire and there was things cooking and there were children everywhere and it was absolutely tidy and there was nothing wrong with it and they were just normal people just leading a slightly different life.
Yes.
But that can't be said of some of the other sites I've visited.
The design site guide produced by the Department of the Environment categorically says there should be 3 kinds of site provided. Emergency stopping places, transit sites for short stay travellers who like to be on the move, and permanent residential ones. And I feel that if those 3 kinds of sites were provided, it would be enough to suit different kinds of travellers.
Yes, it sounds very nice, but you start providing I mean, one of the habitual resting places of gypsies is in the Chilterns. Now, to the public, the Chilterns is an area of great outstanding natural beauty, and under no circumstances would you get planning permission to site a caravan or build a cottage or do anything else in that area, and the general public becomes very resentful when a batch of travellers descends on it and then desecrates the whole countryside with their activities.
The traditional gypsy site that local authority provides is a large site for anything up to 20 or even 30 caravans. And one of the problems there is that you do get different gypsy families go on the site that perhaps don't get on together. And that does cause antisocial behaviour that reflects on the adjoining areas. Now, what we decided to do in South Oxfordshire, because we knew we were primarily aiming to help two separate families, was to provide what we're calling small family sites for up to no more than 3 or 5 caravans, which we'd hope one particular family would settle on for as long as they wished to.
Well, I'm an environmental health officer from the local council. I recognise that there is a problem and there must somewhere be an answer. But 3 quite distinct needs, and those needs are clearly not being met.
Quite forward-looking. The main problem we've found with that is that it means instead of looking for one site in a particular area, it means we may need to find 2 or 3. And unfortunately, and we do say unfortunately, the local people don't seem to distinguish between a large site and a small site.
All we're paying it for now is a piece of concrete.
Yeah, where's the money?
Well, let them come and ask our opinion, like you're doing here now. Let them come and ask our opinion and ask how we want our site built. That's your workplace there.
Here.
And
this is your shower and toilets or that, whatever you want, is it?
Do you think that you would like to have your own place?
Yeah,
with
your own
your
place fenced off, yeah. Well, for your own privacy,
more.
really. And you can keep your kids on your own side and keep your rubbish in and other people's rubbish out.
You'd want that kind of a site. You'd want to live in the summer and come back in the winter.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
You would travel in the country a lot more.
Travel every minute.
I mean, what we need really is bits of land all over the country. You know, say a site in each county.
Not a residential site, because I want to carry on travelling.
Our thanks to the travellers for their hospitality and enthusiasm in the making of this film, in particular to Kathleen Joyce for her poem Roaming and Ian Staples for the music.
But I mean, instead of a battle, there should just be lots more tolerance, I think.
It's just a coming together. I mean, it's the road that brings everybody together, yeah?
What I do think about it is that for 30 days of the year, you wonder why ever you live like this, and all the rest of the time, you wonder why you didn't live like it all your life.
I once read this book, all right, Bev, and it said, Spanish gypsies are good for their dancing. Some of the gypsies are good for their singing, and English gypsies are good for scrap.